This video features recordings from the Developmental Disability Awareness Month event held on March 7th at the Barbara Roberts Human Services Building in Salem, Oregon. The event was hosted by the Oregon Council on Developmental Disabilities as a kickoff to Developmental Disability Awareness Month, celebrating this year's theme, Developmental Disability Awareness Always. We began with opening remarks by Interim Executive Director Brent Watkins of the Oregon Council on Developmental Disabilities, also known as OCDD.
The theme of our campaign really emerged from conversations with many members of our community that provided feedback in a variety of ways. The message that continued to resonate with people was that developmental disability awareness is something that deserves our constant attention. While we are grateful the month is designated to celebrate the incredible contributions people with developmental disabilities make in communities across our great state, awareness, support, and acknowledgement of those contributions is something that should occur every day of the year. As part of this year's campaign, we want to share and encourage all of you to share stories that highlight people with developmental disabilities working, going to school, volunteering, and participating in their communities. This year's campaign will emphasize those identities that people choose for themselves about how they show up in their communities each day. As we get started, there are so many people I want to acknowledge and thank. First, I want to thank all of you for being here. Thank you to our community partners that were able to participate in our feedback sessions. I'd like to thank the members of the Oregon Council on Developmental Disabilities for their leadership and guidance as we prepared the campaign. And an additional acknowledgement to Kelly McCauley, Eddie Plord, Rosa Ochoa, and Joe Carroll, who served our internal campaign group. Thank you to Dana Hittle and the Office of Developmental Disability Services for their contribution at this event. Finally, I'd like to thank the staff of the Oregon Council on Developmental Disabilities. Joanne Reaganoff. Sorry, I can get emotional sometimes. So, Anna Baker, Matt Spears, and Kate Thompson. Without you, this event would not have been possible. As I think of our theme, I can't help but reflect on a person I met years ago at the Summer Inclusion Institute in Toronto, Canada, Judith Snow. Some of you know Judith well. Judith was an adventurer. She loved canoeing, going up climbing walls. She explored the Colorado Watkins, among many other things. Judith did all of these activities, though she had limited physical mobility. By the time I met her, she had to use a sit and puff system that allowed quadriplegics to command a chair by emitting Morse code through a mouth tube. While some may see this as a barrier, I think Judith saw it as an opportunity. Judith was also a barrier breaker. She was a trailblazer. And she changed the way I think forever. Judith taught me to enter someone's life focused on possibilities, hopes, and dreams. She helped me to see how limiting it can be and the harm that can be done to another person when we lead with limitations. I came to believe that when we lead with a dream, what can be accomplished is limitless. My challenge to each of us today, including ourselves, be an advocate for dreaming. Recognize that dreams are the portal to freedom. Believe an extraordinary life is possible for everyone, but understand that even though it begins with a dream, it's only through courageous, tough, and persistent effort that it becomes a reality. Each of us contributes in important ways in our different communities. At the close of our program today, we will have sticky notes. Where are our sticky notes at? Okay, same table over there. We have sticky notes and name tags available to each of you to write a role or identity you choose to share with others. If you would like, we welcome you to put the sticky note on the poster that will be unveiled to show the many ways we show up and contribute to our communities each and every day.
The second speaker at the DD Awareness Month event was Dana Hittle, Interim Director of the Office of Developmental Disabilities Services. Unfortunately, the video did not record for Dana. Therefore, if you would like to hear the proclamation that Dana Hittle read at the event, you can find that on OCDD's website at ocdd.org and go to the Get Involved tab and then go to DD Awareness, and you will find the proclamation there. The next speaker was Senator Sara Gelser Blouin.
I feel happier in this moment than I have in weeks, and I don't think that's just because it's a long legislative session. Thanks, Ed. This room is filled with genuinely some of my favorite people. You are the people that I think about when I wake up in the morning. You're the people I think about when I go to sleep at night. You are the people that have laid a groundwork for my son to have a better life and to be able to make choices for his own life. All of you in this room have helped to make that happen. So first, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for that, and thank you for being here to just demonstrate this community, which is a really special community to have an honor to be a part of. I know, I was talking with John this morning, actually. We were recording for a podcast. I didn't realize I was going to see you later today. And we were talking about some scary things at the end. And I recognize that those things are really scary. And I want to acknowledge that there is a lot of uncertainty in the world. I think that one of the things that's hard about that is that with all of the changes, whether it's Medicaid or the meanness that seems to be out there, the return of the R word, blaming people with intellectual and developmental disabilities for plane crashes, that is bizarre and scary. And more than that, it really hurts. It doesn't feel good. And I think for the disability community, sometimes it seems like that's invisible, that nobody notices that pain or how that is hurting or hitting or setting back the people in our community. So I just wanted to say to all of you that are seeing that and feeling that, someone recently said to me it's the first time he remembers being afraid for his life due to political things. And I know that that is a reality for so many people. I want you to know that I know that. And I want you to know that every place I go, I keep telling people that. I keep bringing that up because we cannot let that go. And the more that you all speak about it, the more other people hear about it. You are the best voices for your stories. As hard as these things are, it's so important to tell your stories. Both the positive things that have happened, the tremendous work you're all doing in your competitive integrated employment at or above the minimum wage. How exciting is that? How exciting is it that we have to figure out how to solve the public policy problem of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities earning so much money that maybe they'll lose their benefits? We can fix that, but wow, what a great problem to have when you think about it, right? To think about how am I saving money for my first and last month rent so that I can not just make my own choices, but decorate my own walls in my own place that is truly my own. Those are huge, huge changes that have happened, that have only happened because people with developmental disabilities and intellectual disabilities have demanded that they happen and have advocated that they happen. I have a fear that we are losing that. I worry that our systems are moving ahead in ways that no longer put you at the center of your lives, that no longer start conversations with you before they start in other places. And there are decisions that are being made that I worry threaten our commitment to deinstitutionalization. One of those biggest fears that I have, there is a legislative proposal making its way through the legislature right now that would take away from children protections that they have had for years, from seclusion, from supine restraints, from prone restraints. That would go away. We haven't had a conversation about that. That would take away the protections we put in law just a few years ago when the state started sending children with intellectual and developmental disabilities to institutions in other states. Institutions. We closed institutions for children here in the 1990s. But we disproportionately, when we send kids out of state, we're sending kids with IED. We were sending them to segregated places that are and were institutions, and almost every single one of them experienced a significant injury while they were here. We cannot have that happen again. There are going to be hearings about that, and we really need to hear, not from me, not from advocates that don't have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We need to hear from all of you. What does that mean if we start sending kids with intellectual and developmental disabilities out of state? What does it mean for adults with developmental disabilities if we say, it doesn't matter what a setting is, we can serve children and adults in the same place? There's a reason we have children's DD settings, and a reason we have adult DD settings. You know why? Adults with developmental disabilities are not children, and children with developmental disabilities are not adults. These things matter, and those of you, leaders with intellectual and developmental disabilities, you are the people that can speak to that and explain how that harms your life and takes us back to an institutional focus. When we walked in today, I think partly because this is so heavy on my mind, I was re-looking at this art over here that I've looked at for years, and the thing that struck me today, that had never struck me before, this is a memorial to her. And around it in the circle, the message on the bottom says it's a memorial to the children and adults that lived at Fairview. The small people are the children and the adults. There's some that are a little bit bigger than that. The large person is the superintendent of the institution. The large person is the state, the government, people without intellectual and developmental disabilities that believe that they know what is best for them and do it because they care about it. This is what we moved away from. We belong in a world where everybody is the same height, where the people with the power are not towering over children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, where you are taken care of, you are deciding. You are deciding things that are good for you, and sometimes you're making choices that are bad for you, just like I do with me. So I encourage you, the more scared you get, the more worrisome things get, the more important it is to be really loud. Don't let anyone tell you that you're asking for too much. Don't let anybody tell you that it is not the right time or there are bigger problems right now. The most important thing in your life is that you get to have a life. Your time is now. Your voice is yours. The IDDB system belongs to you and you first. So I thank you for bringing me here today, and I thank you for continuing to stand side by side and advocate together. And I just want to say for a moment standing here, how much I miss my friend Catherine White, who I know is so important to all of you. I lay awake at night wanting to talk to her about some of the things that are happening now. But I know because of all of you, your leadership, your skill, your lives, your vision for the future, and for the children that are coming up behind you, we're going to get through this to the other side. Because I know that you are not going to allow us to slip backwards. And you are going to step up and demand control of your own lives and your own service system. So thank you so much for inviting me, and happy Developmental Disabilities Month.
The next speaker was Cheryl Cisneros, the Executive Director at Creating Opportunities. Creating Opportunities is one of 6 organizations in the state representing 20 counties that make up the Oregon Consortium of Family Networks.
He is a small business owner, a movie director, and always the director of his own life. He makes that very, very clear. In fact, he's also the director of my life and my husband's life. I'm also an executive director of Watkins Regional Family Networks. Every day, the family networks are supporting families to focus on their child's strengths. That's one of the biggest messages that we share with families whenever we meet them. To support them in setting a positive life trajectory with their children based on the child's interests, the child's gifts, the child's preferences, always. These are always first and foremost when we're talking with the family. No matter what the situation is, it always goes back to what is the child interested in? What do they want to do? What are their preferences? We can problem solve from there, but that's always the foundation. And also helping families take exceptional or intentional steps to help the child, and also working with the child and youth to live the life that they want to live to the fullest. Very intentional steps towards that. Celebrations like this are so important because everyone deserves to be valued for who they are. One of the most important events that we host each year provides opportunities for families and youth to learn from role models like Gabby, like Kelly, like Eddie, who also happen to be truly some of my closest friends. I value their friendship all year long. I'm honored to work with families every day, and I am a proud mother always. Thank you.
The next speaker was Kelly McCauley, Chair of OCDD, and also the Chair of the Lynn Benton Self-Protections and Advocacy Rights Council, also known as SPARC.
I am also Chair of the Working Council on Developmental Disabilities, and I am the self-advocate and mental health consultant at OHSU, and I am also on the advisory council. Thank you everyone for being here to celebrate DD Awareness Month and for supporting us in amplifying this year's theme, Developmental Disability Awareness Always. DD awareness shouldn't be for only a month, but always. DD awareness is important because everyone in Oregon should know that people with developmental disabilities are contributing members of their communities and deserve the same opportunities as everyone else to live full and independent lives. Thank you.
The next speaker was Gabrielle Guedon, Executive Director at the Oregon Self-Advocacy Coalition, also known as OSAC.
The Oregon Self-Advocacy Coalition is actually funded by the Oregon Council on Developmental Disabilities and a big leader in self-advocacy, and they're actually the reason I'm here today. Way back when, I was not who I was not an executive director. I actually went to a opportunity to learn more about advocacy and not be afraid anymore. Which I think this is actually what this today is all about, is not being fearful to admit, I'm human, I have all these different parts of myself. I'm an actor, I am a dancer, I'm a fighter, I am a business owner, I am a peer, I am a mentor. Today, I think we should definitely consider we are all those things, not just people with disabilities, and to celebrate and show that we, the people, are all of those. Even though we have a disability, that doesn't make up who we are, and we deserve to be celebrated. So today, after everything we've been through together as a community, and everything we're about to go through and learn and grow from, we should celebrate ourselves and really look at, who are you? Who am I? I'm a mentor, but I'm also a peer. Kelly has been my peer mentor a lot of times without anybody knowing it. Eddie has too. John G., who's here today, has too. We are all in this together, And let's remember, we are all here right now. We are not alone, and we are all beautiful no matter what we do and how we go about our lives. Thank you.
The event closed with the unveiling of the 2025 DD Awareness Month poster. The poster was unveiled by OCDD Chair Kelly McCauley, OCDD Vice Chair Eddie Plurd, and OSAC Executive Director Gabrielle Guedon. The 2025 DD Awareness Month poster celebrates the theme Developmental Disability Awareness Always. With the support from individuals and partners in the DD community, OCDD gathered the I Am Always messages and photos from 10 adults and children with IDD. The messages we collected include: I can always do hard things. I was always a business owner. I am always a homeowner. I am always a leader. I am always a barrier breaker. I am always an advocate. I am always a visionary. I am always an author. I am always a basketball player. I am always creative. These 10 messages are featured on our poster, but throughout the planning time leading up to DD Awareness Month, we collected many, many more messages. And the poster and the theme is not intended to be a static message. We have collected all of the I Am Always stories into a word cloud, and we will continue to gather these and add to this word cloud, and we will update it on our website at ocdd.org. If you would like to share your own I Am Always message, you can scan the QR code on this screen to access the DD Awareness Month Toolkit. You can also find the toolkit on the OCDD website at ocdd.org/2025-DD-awareness-toolkit. If you need assistance using the toolkit, please call 971-239-8650. Organizations can also use the toolkit to share the message and graphics with their own logo. Thank you for watching this video.